Welcome to Zebra Vision Studio. In this tutorial, we'll take a closer look at the new WebHMI feature and learn how to build a simple machine vision application with a web page-based user interface. The WebHMI is a new advanced feature available in version 5.4 or newer of Zebra Vision Studio software suite. Using this feature, apart from the classic HMI, Aurora Vision Studio allows the user to create an interactive version of the interface displayed in the form of a simple web page. The WebHMI can be displayed on any web browser, which makes it particularly useful for industrial environments where remote access or ability to monitor the inspection on multiple devices is needed. Therefore, the WebHMI enhances the cross-platform functionality, since an application executed on Windows operating system can be controlled remotely by other devices using different operating systems or browsers. Before we jump to building our own WebHMI, let's take a quick look at one of the WebHMI examples available in Zebra Vision Studio. As we can see, the inspection is running in a web browser, and apart from presenting results for 3 different inspection items, it also enables basic tuning of the correct shape threshold. A similar WebHMI could run on a tablet or other mobile device in a production facility, allowing for remote control of the production process and fine-tuning it if needed. If you want to learn more about this example, simply open the Examples browser, scroll down and select WebHMI capsules. The linked documentation article contains detailed instructions on the task solution, including step-by-step guide on how to build a similar program and WebHMI yourself. Okay, so we had quite a long introduction into the WebHMI, and right now we can start creating our application and the interface. I will not be creating the application from scratch because this would simply take too much time. Instead, I think that we can use one of the existing examples available in our Vision Studio, and for that we just go to the example browser and choose something. And for this tutorial I thought that maybe we can go with the casket inspection. It's a pretty simple example with template matching, shape fitting and geometry 2D. Measures the distance between fitted circles and arcs. So we just run it in Studio and see what it does. As we can see, it locates these 2 arcs and these 2 circles and measures the distance between them. We have those values displayed here. If we iterate it, we can see that no matter the positioning or the orientation of the gasket, it still manages to find all these elements. I will not be explaining this program step by step, what it does and what are the techniques used here, because we want to use it for our WebHMI construction. But if you're interested, you can simply go to the example browser and you can read the whole description and in-depth instructions, very detailed instructions on how to create a similar program. Okay, so we have our program and we could start working on our WebHMI, but I would like to mention that for the purpose of this tutorial, I've made a couple of changes to this example. First of all, I've reduced the number of images in the dataset because we don't need that many. And most importantly, I've added some artificial defects using some simple image editing software. Basically what I did is to reduce the diameter of these circles and move them a little bit just to make things more interesting. And as you can see here, the radius of the bottom circle is 23.5 almost, and here it's 26. 26 here as well. Another defective picture is here. Here we have modified the top circle, and that will be helpful when we use some of the WebHMI controls. What I also did is to change the inner fitting field for these two filters so that they can find those smaller circles. And I also added these two values to the preview. The circle radius 1, it's a labeled value, and out circle radius, it's for the bottom circle. And you are probably wondering how to do it. You just go to the out circle output, right click it, you have property outputs, and you can activate or deactivate the extra property output, and then you can just pull it out to the screen, to the preview window, textual or graphical one. And if we want to add a label, we just right click it, we click label data source and give it a name, so it will be circle radius 2. I guess that's everything you need to know about the changes, and we can proceed to build our WebHMI. The first thing we are going to learn is how to add WebHMI to our program. If you watched my previous tutorial on the user interface, you know that in order to add a standard HMI, we simply go to the HMI designer, and then we have all the HMI controls we can use to build our interface. However, when building a WebHMI, it's a little bit different. We go to Edit, and then we have the Add WebHMI option. So now we are presented with a new window, and we can choose one of 6 different templates, starting from a very simple one, like an empty template, then a rounded border, through some templates with images, and last but not least, we have a grid style template with different rows and columns. We can choose any template. Let's, for example, choose this one. And then we are presented with a WebHMI design window. Of course, we can undock it just to have a better view of the whole interface. Okay, I've closed the window, and now if I click the normal HMI, I'm getting redirected to the HMI designer. So how do I bring it back? When we add the WebHMI to our program, then in the View menu, we have a new option called WebHMI Designer, which will bring the design window back. So let's undock it again. We can change this template at any time. We can also remove the WebHMI. To do so, we just go to the Edit menu, and then we have 2 options. One is Replace WebHMI, and the second one is Remove WebHMI. Let's say we don't want to remove it, but we want to change the template, so we just click Replace, we confirm, and now we can choose a different one. Let's say we choose this one for the time being. I would like to show you how to edit different elements of the WebHMI now, but this definitely requires a short introduction. So you probably noticed that there are no HMI controls on the left, contrary to what we had in our standard HMI. It's because the WebHMI designer works as an editor, and all the controls will be displayed inside this window. When you click something like any of the elements in the HMI designer, then you can see that we have different properties. We can change them. And there is this pencil icon. This pencil icon is basically how we introduce some changes into the WebHMI. When we click it, we have different options. We have close, so it will close this pop-up menu. We can replace this content, which will take this control and just replace it with something else. Or we can remove this element from the WebHMI. Here, we will be using our element browser a lot. So we have the window, so it's the whole HMI window, and then we have the whole structure of our HMI. For example, if we wanted to remove one of the text block elements, you can also see that there are inputs visible, and we connect them the same way as we did with the standard HMI. We can remove this element simply by clicking the pencil icon and then clicking remove. The text block control is included within another control. So we can click it and we see that it's part of the stack panel 1. If we click stack panel 1, then it's just like a container. We can add some content to this stack panel. For example, we could add a slider, and we can keep adding it. So here, add content, we could add, for example, a switch or another text block. So these are all the editing basics for the WebHMI. Again, we do everything within this window. I would strongly recommend using the Elements browser just to have a glimpse at the WebHMI structure. Plus, we added all the properties. I understand that this was quite a long introduction and this is a lot of information, but if you have any doubts or questions, I strongly recommend you checking our online documentation, where you can find detailed information on the WebHMI as well as the descriptions of all the controls. And I think that right now we are finally ready to start working on connecting the controls with our program and making the interface look a little bit more alive. This is everything in part 1 of this tutorial, and in the next part we'll build our interface as well as talk about different settings and how we can access the interface from the outside. This concludes our tutorial. If you want to learn more, please take a look at our technical documentation available at Zebra Aurora Vision Developer Portal. You can find links to the sections of the documentation relevant to this tutorial in the video description below. Thank you for watching. For more information on Zebra Aurora Vision software products, visit us at aurora-vision.zebra.com.